by the amount of people. They had made this huge circle, and they were like around this whole huge parking lot. And I knew I was in the right place because there was like over 100 people holding hands, praying. Yeah. And I was just so amazed, and it totally blew me away. I was so wowed. I'm like, look at the number of people that have all come together here. And I was so excited. So I quickly found a place to park, and I wanted to hurry and catch the end of the prayer, and I was a little bit too late. But me and the folks that had come to volunteer from Bay Valley, we went over to sign in, and as I went over to sign in, I realized Tamara had made me a leader over a group, and I get this sheet of paper with this house on it and a list of things that needed to get done, and I was a little bit worried. I'm thinking, I can speak, I can run a board meeting, you want me to do what? And I have to tell these people how to do what? And I was a little bit unsure of what to do. But as I gathered the items, gathered the people, and began to walk into the neighborhood, I realized the people that lived there didn't care that I was unsure of what to do. They were just happy someone cared. And really, that is what it's all about. I was talking to Pastor Roy for a few minutes when I first arrived here, and he said it's actually been documented that crime in that neighborhood has gone down since this last summer. Amen. So those people do know that they care. I find it interesting that you said that by the end of the week that people were coming out of the doors and getting to know their neighbors and then finding out that they're not alone. I think for too long they've thought they were all alone. And that by all of us coming and converging on that place, they realize they're not alone. So the day went on, and you know, I quickly put on my leader hat and pretended like I knew what I was doing, even though I didn't. And I started to instruct the ladies that were with me and some of the young people that had been put with our group, and we were doing some landscaping, and that was the easy part. I'm a little more familiar with that. And then we started painting, and we were painting these gutters. And it was funny because some of the ladies that were with me, they're like, shouldn't we just tear those down? The gutters look bad. And I look at them, and they're nice metal gutters. And I'm like, those gutters aren't going anywhere. I said, let's just paint them. And so we had some paint with us. And so I'm definitely not a painter. And I'm like having this ladder kind of teetering on the edge of these big bushes there. And I'm trying to climb over the bush and not have the ladder fall over. And we're up there trying to paint. And silly me, I didn't think that I couldn't leave the can of paint sitting on top of this teetering ladder. And before you know it, I've got paint from the top of my head down, and my friend's got paint in her mouth. I mean, she had paint everywhere. And you know what? We were laughing. We had a great time. But at that moment, I was kind of wondering, how did I get myself in this position? How did I find myself in Saginaw, in a street I didn't even know existed, with paint all down the front of me? And I realized it's because I'm a Christian. You see, I've read Matthew 25:31-46 many times. And what does it say? It said he separated them to the right and to the left. And he told the people on the right, you fed me, you clothed me, you cared about me. And he said to those on the left, you never took care of me. Depart from me, for I never knew you. Lord, Lord, what do you mean? When did we ever do that to you? And what did he say? When you didn't do it to the least of these, you didn't do it unto me. And you know, that is a huge part of my life. I read those words, and I wonder, am I going to be one of the ones that says, well, I said, Lord, Lord, I cast out demons in your name. I did all these things. And he's going to look at me and say, depart from me, for I never knew you. I want to live a Christian lifestyle. I don't want to just say I'm a Christian. So as I was in my church earlier in the year, volunteering, I had gotten the phone call about this service project in Saginaw. And of course, I always have to field those calls at my church because I'm already doing a lot of things in Bay City. And so I returned the call, and I got to speak with Tamara. And I got to hear her heart. And I got to hear her talk about going and fundraising and doing all this effort to go to Nashville. And then driving through Saginaw and realizing, why? Why am I going so far away when there's so much that needs to be done in our own community? And when I heard her heart it just made mine leap. Because it was only a few months earlier that I had actually started the organization HELPeople. Help, heal, educate, love people. And it's based on the Dream Center concept that maybe you're familiar with. There's over 100 of them across the United States, and it started in LA. And the thought and the idea behind it is you adopt a block, you find a neighborhood right within walking distance of your church, and you love them. Because what I have learned the more I do service work for the people who really need help, they necessarily don't have a car, they don't have transportation. We need to be able to help them in their neighborhood. Sure, they can drive to the Goodwill station, they can drive to the Salvation Army, but if they're at the point where they can't even drive somewhere, they need someone to come to them. Jesus walked to their towns. He didn't stay just in Bethlehem and expect everyone to come to him. He took his disciples and sent them out. We need to go out to the people, and we need to show them Christ's love. So as I heard about what she was doing and about what we do, the number one thing that we want to do is not compete with other nonprofits. This isn't a competition. I'm not going to get in heaven and say, ooh, I beat out that group. Oh, they just did that over there, but look what we did, God. No. The places and the people that are already there need our support. So our first purpose is to help other existing nonprofits. And we've done that in Bay City with the Good Samaritan Rescue Mission, with Beacon of Hope. We've done fundraisers. We've raised over $62,000 for the Good Samaritan Rescue Mission in the last 4 years through special events. And we've also taken people on tours. One of our events we actually have the people take a tour as part of the game, because if they can see and have their eyes opened, it'll change their attitudes of those in need. And so as she was telling me about 1 Week, 1 Street, I thought, this is amazing. We're getting people actually there. We're getting them in the neighborhood. We're getting them to see that there's nothing scary. There's just some leaves that need to be raked and people need to be cared for. So when I arrived there that day, I was very curious. I was like, how is this going to be long term? We're a group coming in and doing this event, but how are we going to invest in this community long term? And so as I got a tour of the facility and I got to see the community center, the cafe that's going to be opening up for the community, and the fact that the church, New Beginnings, is right there on that corner. It's within walking distance for somebody to go and get help. I knew I had to invest in it. For some random reason, I had the checkbook with me that day. My husband will tell you he prefers the checkbook to stay at the house in his office. I give away a lot less money when it's at home. But thankfully, for some reason, I had to stop somewhere on the way home. I had the checkbook with me. And I actually did go and write a check and give it to one of the elders before I left, because I was like, this is worth investing in. This is feeding someone. This is clothing someone. This is caring for someone. This is making sure the electric is on so that when they need to come down at 2 in the morning because something has happened, there's someone that's going to be there that can answer that door. Not all of us can be there every single day, but we can support the ones that are there every single day. Amen. So tonight you do have that opportunity. You do have an opportunity to invest in someone else's life. You do have an opportunity to stand before your Maker and say that I gave when I had the opportunity. You have envelopes on your tables, and I truly encourage you, if you did not come prepared, to take it home. And don't just say it, but do it. Let's not just say we're Christians. Let's walk it out. The biggest thing that I found with this event that is different from a lot of activities that happen is that we weren't just an outside group coming in, doing a quick fix, and then leaving the rest of the year to the people for them to decide. We were actually coming in as a group, and we were lifting up the arms of Pastor Roy and all of those there at New Beginnings. You know, I can imagine Moses during that battle with Aaron and Joshua on either side of him holding up his arms. You know what? The battle is great. There is a battle out there for the people and for our towns. Are we going to hold up the arms of those that are at the front lines, that are working so tirelessly? And I know there's lots of churches here, and there's lots of neighborhoods that need our help. But this was just the experience that I experienced when I was there that day. So I was really excited when I pulled up and I saw all those people. And I know that the people individually probably represented did about 20 different churches. And when I actually took the time to Google church in Saginaw on my computer, about 300 different places pop up in the search engine. But you know, when I looked at those 100 people there, I didn't see 20 different churches. I didn't see the 300 different churches in Saginaw. I saw one church. I saw one body of Christ. I saw one body coming together. The one body came together and decided that we're going to care for the least of these. We're not going to turn a blind eye anymore. We're going to come together and we're going to lift up the arms of those that are here. And we're going to make them know that someone cares. So my question tonight for all of you is, what is your part in this body of Christ? How do you give? Is it maybe your time? Can you call up the board and say, hey, you know, I can make phone calls this week for you. Should I help you try to find some more volunteers for this summer's event? Hey, I'm really good with graphics. Can I help with making some flyers? Maybe I'm a web designer and I can help out. So we have a great website where people can go and get more information. Can you give some of your time? Maybe you don't have the time, but you have the treasures. Maybe tonight you're going to take an envelope home and you're going to give even a more generous gift than you had ever imagined, because you do have the treasures. You know you can't take it with you. So can you invest in this? Maybe you're going to just make a monthly pledge. You're going to go to Pastor Roy and say, I want New Beginnings to flourish, and I'm going to do a monthly pledge. Maybe it's just $10 a month. But if enough of us give $10 a month, I know that he could make that stretch, and it would help a lot of people in the community. Maybe it's your talents. Maybe you're going to say, you know what, I've got some vacation time coming up, and I'm going to make sure I've got that week off, or a day off. And maybe you're a better leader than me. Maybe you know how to take a group of teens and women and say, let's make this house look fabulous. Maybe your talent is with carpentry, and you can go in and help finish off the cafe. Whatever your talent might be, I'm sure if you went and said, I'm willing to help, that there's a way you can help. So we don't have to be something special. We just have to be a Christian and actually act it out and care. So thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm so honored to be here, and I'm so glad that you guys took this evening to come and to hear about this project. Thank you.